by welcoming you all to Inspiration Island Annex. Most of you know Whole Brain Health, so I won't say more than to thank you for your presence here again today. This project came about serendipitously. Magua, Professor Murat Gulmez, started working with us after he brought his Tooyaa University students on a tour of Inspiration Island last December. He was interested in what we do because many of his classes focus on sustainability, which WBH considers a key component of long-term brain health and total well-being. We talked, and out of the compatibility we experienced from these conversations, we came up with the idea of collaborating during the spring 2021 semester. Those students formed 3 teams and created interactive exhibits with our help. That is, we encouraged their creativity and taught them how to present their ideas using Second Life resources. We all enjoyed this experience so much that we wanted to do it again in the fall. This time, Technological University of Dublin joined with us. We had met TUD when their students started coming for a visit to WBH as part of a class that Professor John O'Connor has been teaching in Second Life for over 10 years now. Sitearm brought us to John's attention, and I want to thank you, Site, for that. We all started meeting the WBH leadership team of Tooyaa, Fran, Katsai, Galen, and me, with John and Sitearm, and Magua and his indispensable student assistants, Ginger and Besitaa, who are here today. Together we planned out a course with many moving parts. Most of them have moved well over the term. We have all learned a lot from this experience, and we are looking forward to continuing these kinds of fruitful collaborations in the future. The students presented their projects this past Wednesday during class time, followed by a group photo taken by Tooyaa and a celebration with dancing to music provided by Galen and fun objects provided by Cats. Sitearm made a video of the event, and we can give you the link to that later. Unfortunately, many of the students cannot be here today. I think the Irish students especially had an issue with it. Now, let me pass the talking stick to Tooyaa. She will tell you more about WBH's role, and then Magua and John will give you their experiences, and perhaps any students who are here can add their perspectives, and then you can go around and check the exhibits they made. So Tooyaa?
Students and teams created some really fun and interactive environments here, and the presentations were interesting and informative. We don't have time for all the student presentations today, but here's a link to a Google Doc, a public Google Doc, which contains the text of all their talks on Wednesday. One of the earlier things we did with students was organize them into teams. I made team t-shirts for them, which has been a really good way for them to identify each other and to generate group and team spirit. I gave the t-shirt template to one student who made his own designs. You can pick that up at Green Team Project. Students were tasked with creating at least these 3 elements in their projects. First was a speakeasy note card to chat text tool. Second was a slide presentation. And third was a 3D interactive object. We provided students with a good set of project presentation tools. You can get the kit yourselves by clicking the big board here that says Project Tools. Click here to receive complete set. This kit contains 3 kinds of slide viewers. The Press-O-Matic, which allows the presenter to advance slides using buttons. The Share board, which allows anyone to add images and note cards. And the Auto Slideshow, which plays a set of textures in alphanumeric order at a set rate. Also included in the Speakeasy is the Speakeasy tool, or Speakeasy. This is normally worn as a HUD on screen. The presenter touches it to display a sequence of text lines in open chat. I'm using one right now for this talk. Students had opportunities to use basic scripting language, LSL, using some simple scripts. One is give contents on touch. Another creates float text above an object. Some students employed more complicated scripts, such as object rotation. You can see that in use here in the wind turbine at the Blue Team project, and also particles. We wrote extensive tutorials for the use of these tools and for other common Second Life tasks. The lesson modules, which you'll get in this kit, are delivered in note card form in World and also in the project tools kit, as well as our website. And I gave you the link to our website student resources. The lesson modules are designed to advance in complexity, ultimately combining multiple skills into more advanced objectives, like the final projects here. Whole Brain Health wants to help develop the whole person. With that in mind, our tutorials and activities involve technical as well as social activities, two-dimensional and three-dimensional expressions, terminology, and multiple modes of communication, viewer tools, object and inventory management, and exploration of the metaverse. I just had to use that word at least once during this talk. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with the students and staff and faculty of the International Student Project this semester. Now, before I pass the baton, we have a friend to celebrate a birthday with, and that is Besitaa, who was a very helpful and sweet student assistant for this project. So I will let Cat's Eye carry on the celebration. Happy birthday, Besitaa.
Okay, Besitaa, you can light the candles or I'll light them and you can click blow or type blow in chat.
Happy birthday to you.
You
Yay. There you go, girl.
try typing blow, Besitaa. I type that. I don't know if it'll work for her. Oh, it did.
Thank you, Cats. That was lovely.
Okay, so we should move on, I think.
Yes, it's
The time.
So it's time for our professor from Dublin, Ireland, John O'Connor.
I'm sorry, my mouth is full of cake. Let me just swallow this and I'll be ready to speak. So as Wisdom said earlier, I have been teaching here actually since 2009, and it's lovely to see so many familiar faces. Many of you I have interacted with and in various stages in that time scale. And I think one of the things that brings me back to Second Life continually is that sense of community, the sense of generosity, the way people are so happy to share their experiences and to help each other here has always impressed me. Yes, Rhiannon, originally, when I came into Second Life, I quite quickly discovered Virtual Dublin with John Mahan, indeed, Ham Rambler, and with Sitearm Madonna, who was the running the sim and the city at the time. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to bring the students into a vibrant community. I didn't really want to have a private island. For me, the real advantage of Second Life was the fact that it was a second life. It was a second world, and it had lots of interesting people and interesting activities going on, which I felt really enriched the learning environment. So I was delighted to join with Ham and with Sitearm and all the other helpful people in Dublin Virtually Live at the time. Ham built a replica of one of our city centre campuses in the Dublin sim, and we taught there. And in return, I offered 2 free places on the module to Ham to do what he wished with, and that was really I didn't realize just how important that was at the time, because it brought every semester 2 people into the group that expanded my horizons. And one of them was, in fact, Sitearm Madonna, who I always tell the other students excelled. He's one of the few people who practically got 100% in the module. But there were many others who we became friends with and who contributed to the module afterwards. Another one of those was Dudley Dreamscape, some of you might remember, from Akron University in Ohio. And then we eventually met in Dublin at a conference, and we collaborated and shared the module for 2 years, or for 4 years, in fact. So I had a little bit of experience of doing that before I met with Magua, my colleague from Turkey, this year. One of the communities that I spent, that I got huge support from the very beginning, was Gentle Heron and her friends at Virtual Ability Island. And what struck me always was that class left the students silenced for the first time, and it gave them a huge understanding of what Second Life was all about, what the potential could be, and what the strength of a community like this could be. And Gentle has very kindly shared her experiences with us over those 12 or so years. More recently, we met Val Librarian, who has shared her vast experience with us and with the class, and contextualized things in a fascinating manner. And just to give you a sense of what we teach, my background is design, but I deliver what is effectively an elective module for a range of design and fine art students. And really what I want to do is give them an experience, a practical experience of working collaboratively in an online environment. I always felt that that was going to be very important to them in their future careers, and I wanted them to experience it in a real live situation rather than just talking about it. In addition, I felt it was very important that they had some understanding of the nature of this technology, the development of technology, and how our tools affect us and our societies around us. So each week I introduce a topic or a theme from the ideas of Marshall McLuhan, who many of you will probably remember from the mid to late 20th century, to a session on the self and the individual and the development of personality, which is obviously very topical and very important in an online context. Teamwork was a hugely important part that Sitearm took over very early on. And with his experience and expertise, he has developed a really interesting set of talks around teamwork and how teams operate and how they function and what the different team roles are. And so there's a lot of interesting information that you can engage with the students in over the course of a semester like that. It all ties together then in the form of a collaborative project, which the students work on in teams. And again, that's to give them that practicality of working together. So we met Wisdomseeker and the team at Whole Brain Health a few years ago, when Sitearm introduced us, and Wisdom very kindly offered to give the students a tour of this wonderful facility. And since then, we've been thinking about how we might try and collaborate. Magua very quickly understood the potential, and he started, before we did, working with Wisdom and broke the ground, so to speak. And then the three of us and Sitearm worked together for most of last summer, quite regularly meeting to see how we could bring everything together. And things became quite complicated. There were a lot of students involved, a lot of different activities, and obviously a lot of different groups. But the huge advantage, as I saw it, is that Liz and her team were able to devote time to sharing practical advice to students specific to building and creating things in Second Life, which I never had the time to do in any full way. So we got through an incredibly busy semester. We introduced the students to a lot of new tools and techniques. And in and among all of that, we introduced our students to each other. And so the Turkish students had to learn how to work with their Irish colleagues and vice versa. And I have to say, I have been hugely impressed by the ability of the students to take all of that, the cultural differences, the technical differences, or the technical newness of all of this, without being phased at all. We had a number of technical hitches as Second Life went through rolling starts and kicked us out at various stages. And nothing really stopped the students from engaging. They were tremendously willing to just take the risk, take the plunge, and get on with things. And I think it's fair to say that we were blown away by the presentations they gave here on Wednesday of this week. It's always amazed me how the students appear to be quite blasé and not taking anything very seriously. But when it comes to the day when they have to present, they always seem to pull it out of the bag. But this semester, they did it in just such a hugely more impressive way than they usually have, that I think the experience of being here in Whole Brain Health has served them extraordinarily well. So with that, I would like to publicly thank Liz, Wisdomseeker, and the team here at Whole Brain Health, who have been so supportive and generous with their time and their experience. I also want to thank Magua and his team, who have also been very supportive and hugely generous with their time. And I want to thank Sitearm, who did a huge amount of facilitation work and kept us going and made sure we were always planning ahead and ready to do what we needed to. And I'd certainly also like to thank Gentle Heron and the team at Virtual Ability Island, and Val Librarian and the libraries here. And with that, I will hand the baton to Magua. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John. Let's start with this corporation and the team. I mean, this Whole Brain Health team, and also John O'Connor's team, and me and my graduate assistants. We were all working together through the semester and even before the semester. In summer, we had a lot of preparations to do and so on. So when Wisdom is mentioning about that it was kind of luck that we met, or serendipitous, it's not really that, in my opinion. I mean, there is nothing serendipitous about it. Liz or Wisdom being here, spending a lot of her time here in Second Life and being very active. John is being here and he has been teaching here, and I have been trying to teach here. Those were not coincidences. So it was not just luck that we found each other. I think it is part of everything that we did in the past started to give us the fruitful outcome this term. So this project was a fruit of all these efforts, in my opinion. And every time we do this or these kind of projects, we're learning from them and we are developing it each time we do it. So next time, probably we're going to do it even better. Hoping so. And for the students were amazing as they are always been. I mean, we have been doing this kind of projects here with my courses. I don't know, many times, like maybe 7, 8 times I have done with only my course, but this was the only one that we have the international collaboration. And it was even a little bit more complicated than before because of the time zone issues or the cultural aspects of it. Everything was in play, and the students' job was even harder this time than before, in my opinion. And in the middle of the term, yes, the time changes came into play. We were just understanding what time we are living in, then the time changes came into the play. And in Turkey, we don't change time. In Ireland, they do change time, but in the different time of the year. And then in USA, they change time and in the different time of the year. So, this is just a simple example of how complex can it get sometimes. So we started to meet on the Second Life times. We started to use Second Life time for our meeting points, and we learn how to deal with this during the process. Actually, students did a very good job, and probably now soon you're going to see them around the stages that they built, the presentations that they made, the slides that they prepared, and everything else. You will see everything in a few minutes that with your eyes. And I would like to thank everyone who took part in this project, Whole Brain Health team, for their huge support as always. And John O'Connor, professor from Ireland, my colleague right now. Probably I have worked with him more this term than some of my real life colleagues. So I appreciate his input into this project as well. And Sitearm, who has been helping us to get organized sometimes, because it is not easy to do that as well, just to organize ourselves sometimes. And we appreciate that. And my course assistants, Besitaa, happy birthday, by the way, again, and Ginger and Sabrina Maggie. She's also a course assistant in my other virtual world course as well, but also helped in this one from time to time. So we got a lot of people getting involved in this. It's not an easy job, I tell you. It's like it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of background preparations to be able to do that. But at the end, it is very fruitful and enjoyable, in my opinion. Okay, I will leave the ground to Wisdom, I guess, to announce what is coming next. Thank you all.
Thank you. Let's give a big round of applause to our professors and our staff who've done so much work. Blood, sweat, and tears, as we say. Actually, we're very near the environment, blue over here. So if the students had a technical problem, so they're not able to, they'll probably try to get back on, but maybe they'll join us as we go around. So as we go to the different areas, what we did was have 2 teams for each area. So we had 6 teams all together. 2 tried to do something about environment, 2 about society, and 2 about economy related to the idea of sustainability. So each team, we had 2 teams, kind of giving different ideas about each of these topics, each of these very important aspects of sustainability. So let's start with the blue area. Each team has a color. And maybe, Magua, would you mind starting just talking about that, and then John can do the next one? We can alternate that way.
Sure. The whole project was about sustainability, and we were going to emphasize on the triple bottom line of the sustainability. Those are the economy, society, and environment. And when we were doing this, we kind of gave the students a assignment instruction about that. And we wanted them to use the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN to focus on for their presentations. So this is, for example, the blue team. and they are part of the environment, and they were mostly focusing on, they choose to do that, on the renewable energy sources and so on. So they gave us here a lot of technical knowledge about how we can gather energy from the certain sources, renewable sources, and they presented it in a slideshow here, as well as they created certain solar panels around the stage, and I think they even built, there's a windmill produced by the students here on the side, I guess. So that's pretty much every team did the same kind of arrangements on their stages. They are having, yeah, Green had a video as well, and they were using a lot of tools that could be used in the Second Life, and they learned it just in this semester, in 10 weeks to use those. That was, in my opinion, pretty fast and accurate to be able to do that kind of work at the end of the semester. And we were all impressed by the work that has been done here. Yes, also they needed to use during their presentations, that was required. That was the speakeasy hut and the a 3D object and the slideshow we were here, Presomatic. So they had to, all the teams had to use those three, at least one of those three for sure. How to do those, this kind of training was given by the whole brain health team, and they had to do it outside of the formal course hours. So it was a little bit tricky to gather everyone from different time zones on weekends or sometimes at nights. Yeah, so to give this training. And I think they were very passionate about that, the whole brain health team, and they were making themselves available as much as possible to fit the schedule of the students. And that was also another thing that we should appreciate, I guess. Okay, that's pretty much it here in the blue stage.
I wanted to go to the purple group next.
Okay, lead us
So
there.
they're just across the way. So if you want to follow me.
Follow John.
So you'll see there's a teleporter here. So everybody should step on the teleporter, which will bring you to the presentation area. So I have to say I was hugely impressed by the level of building skills that the students developed in such a short period of time. Absolutely, Pi, seriously impressive. There were a significant number of challenges for the students in this project. The first, and I think the biggest one, was that we were pairing them up, a number of Turkish students with a number of Irish students. So they had cultural differences to overcome. They had language differences to overcome. And I have to say that in the language department, it is the Turkish students that shone because they all spoke English. I don't think any of our Irish students spoke Turkish. So yes, as Magua says, we were very mean as professors. They had a time difference to come to terms with. But those of you who are around for a long time in Second Life maybe forget also that the students, not only were they not used to Second Life, but they had no way to communicate outside of Second Life. So they had to very quickly discover a way of communicating. Most of them came up with WhatsApp groups for their teams, and they were also supported by Besitaa and Ginger in establishing a common WhatsApp group so they could chat offline. But even getting to know each other was a huge hurdle for them in order to get around to even looking at the project. Then they had to get used to Second Life. And again, those of us who are around in Second Life for a long time, we even still have difficulty figuring out how some things work. But if you remember back to when you were a beginner and how difficult it was just to orient yourself in such a space, you'll have some sense of the challenge that faced the students. We wanted them to build these sets, although I have to say I didn't expect anything as elaborate as all of this. I was very, very impressed. And then there was also content. They had to develop some serious content in response to the brief. And one of the reasons I wanted to take this project next is this was one of the ones that focused on sustainability in Second Life itself. Because we asked the students to look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in the context of Second Life. Our thesis or our proposition was that if we're talking about sustainable development goals in our world, the real world or the first world, we should also be considering them in the context of Second Life and how Second Life has met that challenge. And they did that very well. It is worth your while, if you have some time, to have a look at the YouTube video that Sitearm shot and edited to present the projects. It's quite long because there are a lot of projects, but you can skip through it and have a quick look at each one if you wish. But you will see the level and the quality of the presentation. We insisted that each student spoke as part of the presentation. And again, that was a bigger challenge for our Turkish students because they had to speak in a language that was not their first language. They had to use speakeasies. And don't forget, a lot of the students are working from less than ideal circumstances. They don't necessarily have great broadband where they're staying because they're not always staying in their own homes. So they're having to work with whatever they can. They're having to deal with Second Life crashing. They leave or they're thrown out and then they have to come back again. We had that, I don't know if you guys experienced it, but right in the middle of, I think it was this presentation, there was a massive crash in Second Life and nobody knew when we'd get back because we couldn't get back immediately. But once we did, the students were game to get starting again. Nothing seemed to faze them or upset them or disturb them, which is a huge learning experience for them because when they come to the world of work, they'll be used to this. And that's the idea of this project, is that it gives them some very real experience of working with people that they've never met, working in an environment that is not unfamiliar to them, and working with people in an offline and online context and having to figure out how to build a team and produce a result in that context. So the learning experience for them has been tremendous. I think that's
Okay.
probably sufficient
I
for
think,
this.
yeah, I think we thought we've got one more, the economy, we thought we'd go to gold. So just, there's
Right.
an exit here. If you can see the exit.
The students were very thoughtful in developing these spaces because
Yes.
they signposted them well to help us get around. So you can see, follow the exit signs.
But let's do gold first and then see if anybody can stay for the others.
This one, the gold team, they were silver and gold team we had. They were responsible with the economy part of the sustainability. And this gold team particularly was the unlucky one. Their stage was destroyed just before the presentation. So we were planning to start with the silver and gold. So silver and gold was going to do that. And then we changed the order because their stage was broken and destroyed by someone. We don't know. Maybe it was one of their mates who were trying to check here and did it by mistake. We don't know, or a griefer. We don't know. But they were doing it again here. They were fixing it. I think Tooyaa helped them during that process as well. And while we were starting with the others, they managed to fix here, and then they managed to do their presentation. And this gold team was really stressed during that time, and they were talking about the economy. And the economy part is a little bit tricky because they had to talk about the Linden dollars. How should the economy be sustainable by using, or how can we start the sustainable economy by using the virtual worlds or the metaverse right now? So those were really hard questions to gather with, but as many other teams, they did a great job here, and I really liked their builds here as well. Oh yeah, they also made a gift dispenser here, the pink balloon. And that one, if you click on them, I guess you're getting a pink balloon as a gift. So they think about a lot of things in very short time, and it was very impressive for us.
But thank you guys. That's good. You did one of each sustainability theme, so that's good.
And I hope you all come back and look at the others, because in each of them they have some interesting kinds of things they're trying to give you. So please pick up the gifts they made. They were amazing to make the shirts and gifts. More than one did that, and other kinds of things. And bring your friends to let other people know. We're going to keep this up for quite a while.
Great pleasure to work with the Whole Brain Health team, and it was a one-time experience for us. Thank you for everything.
Oh, thank you. But the students, by the way, had to write blogs for a few of the things. They wrote beautiful blogs about virtual ability and the community virtual library and whole brain health. And maybe we can put a link to some of those blogs on that Google Drive as well.
Sure. You can add there with them our website that they can reach all the content there.
And Mary Lou, you see what Mary Lou says? I worked with 10 professors from all over Turkey in 1995-96. As part of my work with the World Bank in Turkey, I mentored those professors and their students at Arizona State for 5 years. They all loved Second Life. I still teach with my Turkish carpets and puppets here in Second Life.
Okay, Mary Lou, if you're interested more Turkish stuff, then visit us at our campus as well as the real life campus as well. You're welcome.
All right, everybody. If you have questions for us or anything, we'll hang around for a bit.